and this is the ability to create customer query calls in our mobile job site portal application. Now, just a little bit of context around this feature. This is a feature that has existed in the desktop classic version for a while now. So those of you that use our job site portal application will know that you can submit a query in against a specific piece of equipment or an asset. And you're able to electronically send a query into the facility to say, my excavator's broken down, send some help, that type of thing. So we've actually extended that feature out to the mobile job site portal, but we've also untethered it from equipment that's currently out on rent. So let's actually go in and do a little bit of a live demonstration of that. So on screen now, you can see my, this is my mobile job site portal view, and I'm in my equipment list. So this is everything that's out on rent to my project currently. As you can navigate and look around on the screen, you can see on the left-hand side, I've got some, in the very first column, I've got some items that say open query against them. So essentially, what you can do with that is you can highlight your line. And this is, again, available in the mobile job site portal, as I mentioned. So if you've got, you're working off a cell phone, you're working off an iPad, tablet, this is available to you on the go, and it opens up. So from that click, it opens up and activates some additional features to us at the bottom of the screen. So you can see that there's an option there that says query, and I now have an option to add a query in against that asset type, or I can view. So if I click on the view, you can see that I've now got some history building up about my my particular query. So in this instance, I've set this up to say, hey, my excavator's broken down. It got reversed onto. Oh dear. And then you can see I've followed that up with another note to say, hey, it's just happened again. The other side got hit. So we've got a job site that seems to be pretty disastrous currently. So this just demonstrates that we're able to use this as almost like a bit of a CRM type functionality. So you've got updates going in, time and date stamped, who's done what, when have they done it, and what have I said. And then we've got, we can also track the conversations coming back from the facility to the job site to let them know what's happening. So we're trying to avoid, these whispers where information gets missed in translation. We're trying to avoid offline conversations on emails, WhatsApp, text, and telephone. We're trying to centralize all of this information. So we've got all of the evidence, everything that we need to try and methodically work through a particular scenario. So we have a history field in there as well. So you can actually dive in and see the exact text exchange between the field and the equipment facility. So you can see from the bottom up to the top. So newest message always appears on the top. I'll start off, hey, my excavator's broken down. It got reversed into by a big articulated truck. Can you send someone out here to take a look? And then we've updated that to say, oh dear, we'll get someone out to you by 4 p.m. tomorrow. So you can see how this is starting to work. And I'll show you also how this ties back into the to the main control center as well. But just to show it in action, how quick it is, you can highlight an item. We can hit the query button again. I'm not going to view it this time. I'm going to add. So I'm going to add a new query to this particular piece of equipment. So it will automatically pull through your project details. You won't need to worry about re-entering information that the system already knows. And the first thing I need to do is create a query type. So that query type, again, is user customizable. You can create your own list. We do have some people using the system from a sales CRM type functionality. We also have people using it from a sales perspective as well. Sorry, a service perspective as well. So for breakdowns of equipment. So I am going to, for this one, I'm going to call this a damage. And I can also create a priority. So it's automatically set on a default to say next status on this is awaiting action. So it's awaiting somebody at the facility to pick this up and do something with it. And the priority, I've defaulted mine to urgent, having come from the construction industry. And I know everybody out there today, if you're working in construction, everything's urgent. Whenever you talk to anybody any of your colleagues out on the job sites, everything is always urgent, needed to be done yesterday. But you can also create priority types as well. So is it low, medium, high priority? Is it catastrophic? We need someone out of in the next hour. You create again that listing, that priority listing, and then I can add a description in here. So I'm just going to say, you're not going to believe this. It's happened again. Being run over by the same truck. There we go. So we can actually send that and submit that into the facility. System's going to tell you, here's a call reference number, something to reference back to, and that will sync back into the history notes here. So if you wanted to go back and look for updates, the system will notify that, and you can open the query up and view it. So there we go.
I wanted to jump in one more time with another question. We have a question: is that request chat functionality available offline when there's no internet access?
Currently not in the mobile job site portal, because I think if you lose cellular connectivity, I think you will lose access to job site portal, because it's instead of mobile job site portal being an app in its own right, it's actually a web URL. So I suspect if you lose connectivity, you may have an issue accessing the application itself until you come back to connectivity, or you come back to Wi-Fi range.
And one more follow-up question to that: is it planned to integrate into an app?
Currently not, but I would be glad and happy to talk to anybody separately around the benefits of doing so, and also the benefits of having an offline version as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you. Okay, so I will show you where these land in the core application, just so we can book in and you can see it from the equipment facility standpoint and how that works. But before I do that, I just wanted to show you the untethered version that we've implemented and added into the system recently. So this one's really cool, and this is something we've had conversations with a lot of customers about recently. And this is the menu, the hamburger menu at the top right-hand side. You can see we've also got that same log query feature appearing in that hamburger menu up there. And this is us untethering this particular feature from any asset which is currently out on rent. So we're just going to create a query, and we're going to submit it in. So again, we're trying to reduce the amount of offline conversations that are taking place outside of the system. So that, again, the phone calls, the emails, the WhatsApps, the Facebook messengers, all of that goes on out in the industry, trying to bring it all back in-house. So I have a form. This is all free form now, so the amount of information that I may need to add in may be a little bit more, because we're not tying this to a project with that type query. When we're not tying it to a piece of equipment, we need to let whoever's receiving this on the other end know where we're at, where we're working, who we are, and what our problem is. So I mentioned before that we may have different types of inquiries that we want to make from the field back into the facility, and this is one of the ways in which we can now do that. So I'm going to use this one to say I'm going to follow up on a quote. So the stats will automatically come into open. Again, we can work with the workflows and how this works. And the priority is now going to be set to a quote chase. So I can assign this to me, and in the description I can say, hey, had a ref out from the crane company. They sent you the quote. As it arrived, need to move forward ASAP. Okay, so again, different query types. Doesn't have to be specific to equipment that's already out on rent. Can be anything, any interaction that you have with the field. bringing it back in the system in a light CRM type manner. Again, it's going to give you a call reference number. We can set templates up and you can receive emails for this as well. So from that query, and this is where I will just dive in and show you from the main core applications perspective. I'll just take down this for a moment.
Jimmy, I got a couple of quick questions.
Yep.
One might be about the importing lines demo, but I could be wrong. Matt is asking, is import lines available on PO?
It is, yes.
Okay. And then another question from Matt, is it possible to use configurator scripts as call type on a query?
I believe so. I'd probably just need to get a little bit more information around how Matt would like that to work. So if we can make a note, and then maybe I can connect with Matt afterwards and we can have a chat about that.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so in the core application, actually, I'm just going to go back a stage and show you that under the rental and sales module, there is a customer service feature, and if we use Control and M, we can we can search for it this way as well. So the customer service feature, again, is another control center. It's another place where filter rows appears, so you can use filter rows here as well. It's another place where you can do Control and M and get back to the main launcher screen as well. But this is, again, another control center where we receive those specific inquiries coming in, those queries coming in from the field. So you can see here, that one I just created is now appearing. So if I just put my filter rows on again and I put sales in my filter rows, I can actually do a search on that and find the information or the inquiries that are coming through based on sales quotes. So if I find the one I just created, I can open that up and I can get to the call details, and I can look at the chase up on the quote. And this is where you can now interact back with the field. So you can say, hey, got the quote, creating PO today. There we go. And we can, the next, again, so from a workflow perspective in the system, you can actually kick on from here and create a quote, create a contract. If you're working on queries relating to equipment breakdowns, the list in here would be different. So if I just show you that, you can go excavator or damage, type in damage. Okay, maybe not. So basically what I can do is open up that one. You're not going to believe this has happened again. And you can see in the next actions, I've got different options. So I can go and swap it out. I can go and pick it up and say, you're clearly not looking after my equipment. You're not having it anymore. And I can also navigate and push this through into a work order. So from a workflow perspective, we now have the ability to record from the very first inception of that conversation. I have a problem, all the way through to workflowing it through to a quote, to a contract, to a work order in the system. So just